We're working. We're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
We are back. What a crazy conference championship week. And I'm your host, Ernest Silva. Add into Lab Pod is where you're following all of today's content. Excited to be back with my boys. We're doing a lot of analysis. We're actually talking hoops today, aside from the regular Pro Bowl convo. That's right. We are hyped to talk Pro Bowl, said nobody. But we are excited to be here with you tonight. Let's go over with my co-host. That's right. Kenny Cotterill. What's up, brother?
I'm honestly kind of bummed that we're even talking about the Pro Bowl at all. Like, not that we're going to go too in depth about who's going to win in dodgeball, but I mean, it's just such a stupid weekend overall, and they should just get rid of it and start doing it like every other league does, where you either do it mid-season or you don't do it at all. And outside of that, I'm good. Like, I probably sound like a real negative prick right out of the gate, but like, I'm in a good mood outside of that. How can you not be with the greatest bucket hat to ever grace ITL?
You are not wrong, Kenny. You are not wrong.
Now, is it the only bucket hat? Who knows? Probably. No, I've had a bucket hat before.
I was also going to say, I think at one point Chris Remick had a bucket hat on during one of these as well. But
we did.
But it doesn't hold a candle to this thing.
I'm going to do a little blast from the past. I think Von Dalesville did too. I think one of his first shows that was on here. He
have done bucket hat or fedora, though. Because there is a difference.
That's true.
No in between.
There's a stark difference between the two.
True.
I just want to point that out. I do own both.
Well, you know what? I no introductions needed, but I'll do it anyways. Andrew Con Sutton joining ITO as well. What's up, brother? Talk to the people.
Hey, y'all. Thank you once again, Ernest, for having me on. I'm rocking a bit of a head cold, as you guys can tell, but I wasn't going to miss this week because there's a lot to talk about. So let's get into it, fellas.
Absolutely. I like the Braves hat. I think it's very brave of you.
Yeah, especially when you're a Jays fan. Right. No, I actually shout out to 306 in Regina. They actually have a brand new store opening, and I actually went down there and picked this thing up. It's gorgeous.
Gross.
I saw the craziest thing on Twitter today. It was only in Saskatchewan. Do you have this? And it was like a pair of guys that are hockey players going down a wooden staircase.
It's so
and
funny
they had to,
story.
Like, bang it.
Yeah, so funny story. That is actually a barn. I know people are like, is that really a rink? Yes, it is. It's actually in southern Saskatchewan. You have to. So back in the day, I don't know what is with like Saskatchewan.
Story time with Andrew.
Yeah, and I apologize. We're going off the rails a little bit.
No, I have to hear it.
For some weird reason, back in the day in southern Saskatchewan, it just seemed to be a thing where you put all the locker rooms at the top of the building because they used to have like socials and dances on the bottom part. So they kind of avoided hockey players because equipment stunk and all that other stuff. So they put them upstairs. And so this chute actually comes down from the ceiling and actually smacks the ice. I don't know how the ice doesn't break more in that area. But as you can say, like you can see in the video, there's two guys that are walking down, but that's how they play hockey. And I can tell you that
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I mean, I know Kenny put that on there, but nonetheless, God forbid I talk, Kenny. God forbid. All right, here we go. Fire it up. Let's go.
I'll tell you
but
what.
It's very cool. It's very original. And the rink.
I will say, I thought that you were done talking, and then you kept going. So I already had the video queued, and then you kept going. So I thought that we were done with story time with Andrew.
The only thing I wanted to finish is that rink is what actually built in 1947.
Wow.
What? What?
Legendary piece.
As you guys know, Kenny Carter, a co-host of ITO, is also in charge of producing tonight. So it's going to be a fun night. If you're not used to it, it's going to be a wild ride. We are so
many
hyped for the
videos.
Pro Bowl that we went straight to Saskatchewan barn hockey.
Yeah.
Let's not forget tonight's episode is sponsored by Blue Collar Media Group.
Give me a hell yeah!
There you go, BCMG. Join today if you're interested, streamers, content creators, and everybody alike. All right, so we're going to go right into round number 1. Let's talk NFL. Let's talk conference championship weekend. We told everybody this is the best football you're going to see all year. Both conferences all decked out, all hyped up. Fantastic. On a side note, aside from the sarcasm, ITL's very own Ernest Silva did win Baby Bowl this week. So very hyped up. But we have one more week to see if we can win it overall, get some money for the program. All right, let's talk Philly in a game that was never in doubt for Philadelphia because of injuries. First off, Brock Purdy, torn UCL. So many questions at the quarterback position for San Francisco. But let's talk Eagles first. Guys, this is the question in my head. Now that we know that Mahomes' injury is going to be a real deal for the Super Bowl, I think it might be the easiest pass to the Super Bowl win in NFL history if Mahomes really hobbles out there and can't run with his injury. So if you don't know the Eagles' path so far, they take on the Giants, who was not very good compared to the Eagles. It was a rout. Then they take on a quarterbackless 49ers team, a big rout. Now you're talking about taking on a Chiefs team who had like 12 injuries by themselves in the AFC Championship and a hobbled Mahomes. I'll start this one off with you, Kenny. Is this the easiest path in NFL history, the Eagles route?
I haven't really given it a lot of thought, like other paths that have been taken, but I would imagine that it's got to be up there. You beat Daniel Jones and Christian McCaffrey as starting QBs this past weekend. So like there has to be, like, I don't want to discredit the Eagles because at the end of the day, like they blew out both teams. They took care of business like they were supposed to, but people acting like this is like some all-time great team in Philadelphia, because I've been reading a lot of that. Like this is like
It's insane,
somehow
dude.
one of the greatest Eagles teams of all time. Don't get me wrong. I think the roster's loaded. Jalen Hurts hasn't played well this postseason, even in those 2 games. Now he hasn't had to preface that, because run game's been really good. Now, how's he going to look if Kansas City just drops or pressures the run game and then they have to throw the ball? I question whether or not he can make those throws. He hasn't looked good with A.J. Brown all playoffs. Devontae Smith, outside of that one catch that wasn't actually a catch, I mean, he was pretty quiet on Sunday. But, I mean, hey, you beat who's in front of you. They were able to take care of both of those teams. How they're favored in this game, I still am not really sure. But yeah, it's a pretty easy path when you get to face a running back, because I'm going to call Daniel Jones a running back as well.
That's harsh. He played well the first game.
He was really good this year.
Andrew,
he played so well in that playoff game. What did he put up? 7 points? God, he's good.
No, he put up 30 against the Vikes. So, I mean, whatever.
Against the 34th ranked defense.
Here is a challenge from Coach Peanut, captain and head of streaming of the BCMG stream team. Coach Peanut, can you name a better Eagles team off the top of your head, Kenny?
I like the one that actually won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that team was fucking good,
I thought
man.
that team was so loaded that Nick Foles won them a Super Bowl over a really good Patriots team. I really like that 2004 Eagles team as well with T.O. when he played on a broken leg.
Westbrook. Oh.
Like that's a very good Eagles team as well. So I'm just it's the idea.
Yeesh. Peanut, that's a hot take. I know
that's listen, tough, Coach.
I know they're good,
man. I mean, hey, we'll find out on Sunday.
For sure.
Sunday.
Well, for sure.
Just as of now, I don't buy it until we actually see them beat a quality team in the playoffs playing the easiest schedule in the NFL this year. And yes, it was a good division, but outside of that, they played a second place schedule. You can't fault them for it. Let's see what happens when they face off against a real team in the Super Bowl.
And they lost twice in their div. So, I mean, I don't.
Promoters.
Yeah, the commoters. I mean, realistically, this Eagles team, yeah, they're good. I mean, they don't really have a ton of glaring holes in their game. I agree with Kenny. I think they need to connect with Devontae Smith a little bit. I think they invested quite a bit into getting this kid going. And AJ Brown didn't look great at times. You could tell that after that last week where the Eagles, didn't really use AJ as he had 2 catches for it was like 23 yards or something the game before. They really implemented on hammering him the ball early. And then once they got up, they didn't really have to do that anymore. I feel for the 49ers, man. Like, that sucks so much. And I mean, you heard the emotion from George Kittle at the end of the game saying, losing with a 5th string quarterback or not even having a quarterback is shitty. And I agree with him. It's such because of what they were going through and the run that they had been on with the teams that they had beaten. I mean, I couldn't believe the graphic that they had showed since Christian McCaffrey came to the 49ers, where it was like, previous to Christian being in the lineup, they were 2-3, and then they went 12-1. Like, that's insane. Oh my gosh, who are you drinking tonight, Peens?
Coach.
Like, I'm just. Quick question: Are we hitting the Pinot?
It's not a good nickname to call him Peen. I just want to get that.
No. I said
terrible.
Peens with the ends there, or a Z.
No.
You can have whatever. I don't give a shit.
No.
But
yes.
yeah, I mean,
just call him Mr. Nut.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this game happens, or what's going to happen in this game. Travis Kelce said that he tweaked his back.
There's a lot of injuries for the Chiefs.
And honestly, man, and you guys might hate this, I think Mahomes is faking this shit, because watch him in the pocket. He looks watch the game again. And I rewatched it. Every time he was in the pocket, elite footwork. And the second that he would get out of there, immediately started hobbling like nothing just happened. He's okay. And then he would mook it and milk it all the way to the sideline.
Playing with adrenaline, though. I'm not going down he's faking a high ankle sprain.
It's not that he's faking it. He is milking it, and it's bullshit.
I'll tell you what, as far as point,
I have played with high ankle sprains. I played an entire basketball season with a high ankle sprain.
I didn't say that you didn't. I'm saying, but he's playing at the highest level in the NFL playoffs on a high ankle sprain. So I'm not going to say that he's milking it when guys are out 4 to 6 weeks with this sort of thing in the NFL.
I don't know the extent to how much we actually know about this injury. I don't know, because there's just been nothing about it. When people were talking, I think the broadcasters had brought it up that they're like, any typical person, this injury is 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, then why the fuck are you risking your future on 8 days? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I'm saying it's milky and it's weird. I don't like it. I don't like any of this.
I think it's part of the storyline a bit. I think it's a bit up there, right? Like LeBron complaining about that foul call. But let's talk about the Chiefs. Let's talk about the Chiefs and the refs, right? Did the Chiefs or the refs win that game against Cincinnati? I know
3 third nines. You're welcome.
Are complaining this game. What are we doing?
We're going to absolutely talk about it like this. Andrew doesn't believe it, so we're going to start with Andrew's take. But there were questionable things that happened in the game, questionable non-calls. And like any Cowboys fan, we have to talk about the non-calls, right? Because that's what we do. Andrew, in your opinion, did the Chiefs or refs win this game?
Refs won the game. It is the most mind-boggling conference final that I have ever watched in my life. You can say whatever you want, Kenneth Cotterell. Rewatch the tape, buddy. I will send you personal clips that I have taken.
Rewatch the tape.
Yeah, rewatch the game. I don't give a shit what the terminology is. The only issue that I have is that, intentional grounding call, okay? I get there's no general wide receiver-ish in that area, and that's why they call that play. Tom Brady did that 5 times against the Cowboys, and not one of them was intentional grounding. Bullshit call number 1. Secondly, Joe Burrow goes to the 1-yard line, gets out of bounds, and gets gang tackled out of bounds. It's absolutely insane to me that is not a 15-yard and a first down. That was third down. Coach. They had to kick the field goal. I mean, this game was ridiculous. There was one play in particular that really, really, really upset me. Patrick Mahomes got pushed. And not out of bounds. I'm not talking about the end of the game. That's a dumb call on its own. Patrick Mahomes is in the pocket, lets the pass go. He gets pushed in the chest. He falls over, flops 15 yards, and they would have had 4th down at that point. That's a huge call in that game because they go on and they score that touchdown. Now, Cincinnati does the exact same thing. Burrow lets it out of his hands. He gets pushed by the face with being clubbed. No call. So you cannot tell me there's not a biasy there. It's bullshit. We've got the Kelce Bowl. That's what the NFL wanted, especially when they started this podcast this year. Bango, bongo, we got her. The fucking Bengals have every right to be upset. Now, does that last call in that last possession of the game change everything? You betcha. But they still would have had the first down regardless if that push happens. And it would have been a 50-yard kick, and I get that, a lot more challenging. But, I mean, let's face it, Bucker's been pretty money for most of the year. He probably makes that kick at home. So regardless of how that last play called out, there's so many little circumstances where I'm like, damn, dude, this is hard to watch. Like 3 3rd and 9s on one possession. Like, and then the clock, the missed completion where it's 4th and 9, and all of a sudden the clock's not working. Like, come on. There's just way too many things for me to not be upset about.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Cincinnati Bengals, 9 penalties for 71 yards. Chiefs, 4 penalties for 55 yards in this game. It's all about timing. Kenny, you say no. You say Chiefs won this game. What are we doing? I'll give you the other side of the coin.
Well, I mean, there's bad calls on both sides in this game. Joe Burrow threw 2 interceptions in this game. So we're not
denying that. No denying that.
That he did that. That they gave up 5 sacks in this game after not giving up many sacks against the Bills. Like, at the end of the day, like we can make the refs the scapegoat here, but you had every opportunity to go and win that game on the final drive with Joe Burrow. He didn't get it done. They punt the ball, and then they take a dumb penalty, and then they kick a field goal. So there was bad calls on both sides. Chiefs took care of the ball better. They won the turnover battle. And at the end of the day, they walk away with the win at home. Like, bad calls are going to happen all the time. Officials are not perfect, but yeah. That's all.
That's the human side. Yeah,
I mean, conspiracy. I think it's easy to call it a cop-out of, well, yeah, but now they get the Kelsey brothers, they get the Andy Reid Bowl, they get because that's just the way that the storylines match up. Like, they can't help the fact that the Eagles got to play a 4th-stringer earlier in the day,
right?
And then Joe Burrow throws 2 picks. So
I was about to say that, right? Like, we complain about injuries all day, we complain about penalties all day. It just so happened that a perfect football weekend was hampered in both games for 2 different things, and that's just how it ended up.
The Chiefs also had 3 wide receivers go down in that game.
They did, and all of them are questionable.
Great game all around. Like, he threw for 350, throwing to absolute bums outside of Travis Kelce. Because everyone will go to the Travis Kelce point. They won't talk about the fact that Joe Burrow has the best wide receiver trio in the league on his side.
Boyd going down early was not good.
Yeah, Boyd went down pretty early.
Boyd going down early was not good for them.
I will say this also. Andy Reid.
You still have Higgins, Chase, Hurst, Mixon as your weapons.
Right.
And Mahomes
and I mean,
Pacheco, Joe tried to... Kelsey, Sky Moore.
Yeah. No, I get it for sure.
MVS
had the game of his life, dude.
Played okay. Like,
Tony went out early.
Got hurt.
Yeah.
130 yards and a tutty from MVS, and every Packer fan goes, where the fuck was that?
Andy Reid said that if they had to play the Super Bowl this week, if they didn't have the extra week cushion, they have 23 guys on the injury report.
It's crazy. I saw that today. That's nuts.
But
I will say, like, Isaiah Pacheco, they got something special with that kid, man. He is unbelievable, and I'm happy to see him succeed in that offense because, I mean, I think Clyde's Edward-Helaire is probably, toast?
Probably. I mean, he's a great dancer too. You saw him with Lil Uzi after.
Yeah. Jesus. But I mean, good for the Chiefs. I'm not denying, like, yes, the Chiefs are a great team. It was fishy. I guess would be the only terminology I use. Fishy.
Yeah, it's very tough, very tough, very tough. Let's move on though. We're going to talk about Super Bowl headlines. We have a week and a half to dissect into these, so let's not go too far into it. But other than Kelsey Bowl and the return of Andy Reid, right? Any other headlines you guys are looking out for?
Can somebody shut up Nick Sirianni? That's the headline for me.
I mean, he can flex all he wants for getting there. Like, I don't know, talk your smack. Like, you were the 1 seed in the conference.
Douchiest dude in the NFL. Tell me I'm wrong.
Nah, there's worse.
Cringiest dude in the NFL. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean,
we saw the cringiest dude this weekend. It was Joey Bosa. So, I mean,
that was
threatening fans outside.
So if we want to talk cringy, like, there was certainly a lot worse this weekend than what Nick Sirianni did.
Thank you for reminding me of that because that is the cringiest thing I've ever seen.
Like, Joey Bosa almost took out his dollar shooter and was like, "You watch yourself. I'm gonna shoot."
He was literally in the box with fans showing him pictures of Trevor Lawrence, and he was yelling at them, like, "Tell me that you do not have a small IQ to go along with just an absolutely heated attitude," which, by the way, cost your team in the playoffs. I might
15
add.
yards twice.
So, let's maybe slow down on Sirianni. I don't know. I think overall, like, the storyline for me is Jalen Hurts actually a franchise quarterback? Because I still don't think he is. I think that he's playing on the best roster in the NFL, and that it really hides a lot of his deficiencies, because we saw it last year. Don't get me wrong, you need weapons. I'm not even going to go down the weapons route side of things. He's got top 2 or 3 O-line, top 2 or 3 defense, good run game. Like, I mean, go get it done, because I already mentioned it. He didn't look great against the Giants. He didn't have to, but he didn't look great. Didn't look great in that San Fran game either. It's been all the run game. Go and throw 2 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl, 3 touchdown passes, rush for 1. Like, so for me, like, everyone's going to point to, well, yeah, he was the MVP along with Mahomes. Okay, well, then he got hurt. So he's not
now
the MVP.
It's Mahomes, for sure.
He's not the MVP. He's on the number 1 seed in the NFC that has the best roster. Now go and show it. If we're talking about the Chiefs being banged up, 23 guys, you said, are injured right now.
23.
You can't go and win that football game. Like,
there's no reason.
What more can you do with this guy? Because the Chiefs secondary isn't great. They're not great against the run overall. They're going to have hobbled weapons, hobbled Mahomes. Everything is there for Philadelphia to win their second Super Bowl. If you can't get it done, and everyone's going to say, oh, well, Jalen, he had a great year, like, really proved the doubters wrong. Has he?
Darius Slay versus MVS Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
But people are going to go down that route of, like, man, Jalen Hurts, top 5 quarterback for getting to a Super Bowl. Like, okay, but
I tell you what, though.
How many guys go to the Super Bowl with that roster?
Right. Well, yeah, you could have that all day, right? You could plug any quarterback on the 49ers. They would have gotten to the Super Bowl, right? They just ran out of quarterbacks. So, that happens. But, okay, so I like this, right? Because I like the feel-good story of Darius Slay finally getting his, right? Got traded to a team. A.J. Brown gets traded, right? Going to get a chance to win a Super Bowl. I like the feel-good stories of those, right?
He would have had a chance to win a Super Bowl in Tennessee if he would have stayed around too.
Maybe.
No.
Who knows?
I mean, not really, but they would be in the playoffs. I mean,
also, like, people will try and point to that, but we just act like AJ Brown didn't have an injury history and that they didn't want to pay him $25 million a year.
And their GM got fired after.
And then he plays a full healthy season. Like, that was the whole thing on draft night. It was never that he's not good. Like, we know that when AJ Brown's out there, he's a top 8 wide receiver in the NFL.
Right.
Will he play a full schedule? And if he doesn't, then you got a $25 million guy on the sidelines. So
true. Very true.
That's right. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the offseason for most teams right now. Unless your team's name is the Eagles or the Chiefs, you're really looking at what's going to increase your likelihood of winning next year's Super Bowl. So let's go over to Houston. DeMeco Ryans, defensive coordinator.
Entirely new roster
For the 49ers is now
new team?
the head coach of the Houston
You remember
Texans.
in Invincible when they had members of the public come and try out for
Come
the
and try
team?
out?
Like,
Absolutely.
Houston needs to have that, and I need Ernest out there playing fullback.
I will
because
do
he
it.
has a better shot. The Latino Mel Kiper going out there and absolutely
Mel
trucking
Kiper.
through
Mel
people.
Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kemper. Like, he needs to go out there and absolutely truck some guys, really show that he's willing to fight for the team.
I'm out
Make
there.
fullbacks great again.
I am willing to risk my life for DeMeco Ryans. That man has the heart of Houston behind him. But a 6-year deal, guys. This is where I wanted to focus, right? Why I bring it on the screen. A 6-year deal
It's a long time.
because the last 3, I'm gonna say it out loud. Everybody's thinking the last 3 African American head coaches have all had 1 year and outs. All of them. So DeMeco Ryans, number 4 to come in a row, mind you, but gets a 6-year deal, 4 years guaranteed on this deal paid up front. So that means Houston's going all in with DeMeco Ryans, which means that Cesario has his guy, which means that the McNair family thinks this is the future. I'm going to give you a rating, 1 out of 10. I'm going to give my rating last. Kenny, what rating do you give DeMeco Ryans at Houston?
3. I don't know.
At 3 to be continued?
No.
No, at 3.
I think, first of all, has DeMeco been a head coach? I'm pretty sure he hasn't, right?
No.
So you're giving a coordinator that you've never seen be a head coach a 6-year deal, 4 years guaranteed with a team that is an absolute shambles. Like, let's call it what it is. This is a bottom 2 team in the NFL that you're going to. And we're supposed to be excited about a guy that we've never seen be a head coach. And how long is it going to take for this team to get better? I get it. If you're DeMeco, I wouldn't go to the Texans unless they gave me 4 years guaranteed, because I'd be really worried that in 2 years, when I win 5 games in that 2 years, then I'm going to be looking for a new job. So hey, it's a 10 out of 10 for him for getting 4 years guaranteed on the worst roster in Texas, and that's including like the Longhorns, that's including Texas Tech, that's including the Horned Frogs. Like they might be the worst roster in Texas. So I don't know. I'm not that thrilled about it. I'm never a big, well, this guy's a great coordinator, so therefore he's going to make a head coach because everyone sees Kyle Shanahan and they're like, oh, Shanahan, like he was so good when he came in. But for every Shanahan, there's, look at Denver's situation. Nathaniel Hackett, awful.
Oof.
Absolutely awful. So that's why I don't love giving him 6-year deal, 4 years guaranteed when the team's not going to be very good. So,
But you got to think like, hey, D'Amico, we're going quarterback, right, in this draft. You're going to have
CJ
your
Stroud.
franchise quarterback. You're gonna,
it's a project. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
That's why that's why it's good that he got the guaranteed because if for whatever reason Stroud isn't it,
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
in
right.
fact.
We know the history with that program.
Justin Fields playing running back. Anyway,
I mean that's their only success story.
Go on.
For a while.
Sorry, I said that out loud.
That's okay. Well, I like Andrew. I'm gonna give you a chance. A rating 1 through 10. I'm gonna give my take at the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4. I'm slightly just a little bit above Kenny. I think having that number 1 defense in San Fran this year was big for him. I think he learned a lot on how to become a good head coach from Kyle Shanahan. He's a systems guy. He's a former Texan. Like it's a perfect situation for him. I love Lovie Smith, man. He's one of my favorite coaches of all time, but he got done dirty. Like he was there. You know why he was there. He was there 1 year to just be the scapegoat. And I really hope that the Houston Texans do not do that to D'Amico Ryans. I agree with Kenny. They get CJ Stroud, which they should. Now you got a franchise quarterback. I mean, I'd be doing everything I possibly can to be like, hey, Brandon, could you please stay 1 more year? As in referring to Brandon Cooks. Can you please stay 1 more year to help develop CJ? We need you here. Like they got a Dameon Pierce, who's absolutely a monster in the backfield. The defense sucks. They're going to have to really do some major revamping. But I think as for ownership, giving him 4 years, I feel like that's like it should be a confidence boost to D'Amico because he's not in Lovey's situation where it was a year plus an option where, hey, if you win 2 games, which you probably will with this horrible organization, you're gone, So I like that they gave him a vote of confidence. And the Texans are a bad football team. There's just no doubt about it, but they've got some pieces in place that are okay that they could win 4 or 5 games this year, which is, hey, that's progression in my books after 2 wins, right? So I like that they're giving him some term.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the news ran across. I was waiting for the official word, right? Because you get like sleeper announcing, you get some of these crazies like, oh yeah, this is a done deal. And then as soon as I got the alert, right?
Give me a hell yeah.
Like the whole state of Texas for the Houston Texans was like, that's the hire. That's
yeah.
Right.
I got
19 fans were.
Yeah, I give it an 8. I think he was the heart and soul of the defense when he was playing in Houston. He's beloved by a lot of players. And, even J.J. Watt was like, I play for the man, even though J.J. would only come on as a coaching staff. Let's just be honest.
But does he?
Who knows? But I absolutely love the hire. Houston is a big culture question mark, right? It's like, who exactly are the Houston Texans after the Deshaun Watson case, after the McNair handoff, to Son, after, a lot of allegations. It's dirty. They don't stand by their players. Hopkins leaves, a lot of the Watt left, right? You have a lot of these bad blood situations, and in and out players like David Johnson. So you have to think, hey, bring back the culture to Houston of this is our town. We stand by our players. Bring back the player coach. Bring back somebody who's been defensively proven that they can coach. I like it. Think it's great. I think it's an 8 TBD, and then we'll see what happens after the first 2 years. Other side of the coin, though, he kept on saying no to Denver, who kept pushing for him all week long, could not convince him. And so Sean Payton goes to Denver on what is going to be a 2-year deal. His contract is over in 2024. And so Sean Payton has been traded to the Denver Broncos. We'll talk about the other side of that trade in just a moment. But if you're a Russ enthusiast, or if you're like Ashley Garcia from ITL, Dangerous, Daddy Russ, right? That's what she used to say. That was her guy. You're excited for this. He has a way with franchise quarterbacks. He has a way to work systems. He's fantastically offensive minded. Andrew, rating 1 to 10. How you see Sean Payton go to Denver for you?
Do you remember how old Drew Brees was when he started working with Sean Payton?
I got to think, what, 28, 29?
30. He was 30 years old
Okay,
when he
that's
started
close.
working with Sean Payton. You know how old Russell Wilson is?
I'm guessing 31.
32. He's
Okay,
gonna,
I'm
man.
almost there.
The thing is, Sean Payton knows how to run a top-notch offense, and he knows how to develop great quarterback systems. Now, he is going to do that. There's not going to be any of this, and if there is, honestly, you can only look at one guy, and that's going to be Russ. Russ got his guy. This is a situation where they're going to be able to use Jerry Jeudy in the number one wide receiver spot that people have been crying for with this man. Who's going to be there? Jamal Williams will be back next year. Sorry, as a running back. You have an RB1 over there. Javonte Williams, sorry. You'll have a number one running back now, and you've got pieces in place to make a decent team. Now, you got to be patient too, because that Broncos defense is suspect. It's real bad. So, I mean, he's got to take a couple of, I think Sean Payton's biggest thing is this year, if they can win, 7 or 8 games, which would again be progress from what they had last year, that's the right direction you want to go. But Russell Wilson, this is what it is. He brought in his guy for Russ because they invested $256 million into a gentleman who was very bad last year. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. If you're a Bronco fan, you should be excited. So it's good for the NFL, to be honest.
All right. And Kenny, what rating do you give?
I will disagree on one point. I think Denver actually does have a really good defense. I think they
Surtain is but then they traded Chubb. So
but I mean, even still, like, we're talking about a defense that was like 13th in points allowed, despite the fact that the offense was only ever on the field for like 25 minutes a game. So
fair.
I think it's a good defense. I mean, at the end of the day, like, people will complain about the draft picks. Doesn't matter how many draft picks you have when you got Russell Wilson locked in for the next 4 years. So you had to make a choice. Do we give up that draft capital to go and get a head coach that we think can fix this guy that's corny as hell? Or do we think that we're just going to go through the draft and that Russ is going to figure it out with whoever you stick in there? Probably would have been like a Kellen Moore type guy that they would have tried to go out and get to really five-head this offense, even though that offense was, I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Colts scored more points in the game.
Fact, the Colts,
that's scary hour.
So, I mean, you have to go down the route of getting a guy like this because, look, if he can fix Drew Brees, not that he needed a lot of fixing, but Russ needs a lot of fixing, and if they didn't get that guy, then whatever head coach they would have hired would have been living in one of Russ's 12 bedrooms when he gets canned after a year. So
fact.
I think it's fine. Like, people are going to say, oh my God, I can't believe he gave up first. He gave up the 29th overall pick this year, and he gave up a second next year. Let's face it, you already gave up Noah Fant and picks to a team that now has a top, like, 5 pick that just made the playoffs and had one of the best drafts of all time. So Seattle's like, thank you. Appreciate that. And they're going to be fine. I think Denver, it doesn't help that they're in a division with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes and a conference Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, as of now, Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, good luck being one of those 7 teams, I guess, but you don't want to be in the AFC right now. Everyone should be heading out west.
You bet.
Yeah, I give it a 5. I thought Sean Payton could do better. But for Denver, this is their last grasp. They probably have 2 years with Russell Wilson to see what they can do, and then they're going to lose players because of contract situations. And who better than Sean Payton to go to a probably the next tier of, like, hey, this is our city where it's very hard to win at the Mile High Stadium, So kudos to him on that contract. Give it a 5 for now, and it's another TBD for me. It's very hard to see Sean Payton anywhere but New Orleans. So I got to see him in the navy blue and orange and see, how that's all going to look. But he is going to do what I said earlier, right? He's going to come in and restructure that offense, make Russell Wilson be successful the best he can be, and then see if he can ride out that defense the best that he can. Great segue from Kenny, and I'll start off the convo on this one. Kellen Moore going to the Chargers as the new offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore has a history of not being extremely clutch on his offensive play calling, but I think he's going to have a more dynamic quarterback at his hands throwing arm wise, so he'll be able to run some different things for Justin Herbert than he did for Dak. However, I don't necessarily think this is an upgrade for LA. And I don't know if this moves the needle, and I don't think it's the right hire for them. I don't think this is where they needed to go. It's a surprise hire for me. I hadn't heard anything till the news broke. So one of the most silent hirings. And I guess Kellen Moore just found out I'm not going to be a head coach anywhere. Like, nobody wants me right now. So he's going to get another chance to do it in the AFC, which is much more difficult, the NFC. We don't have to take turns on this one. Guys, just generally, do you like Kellen Moore's decision to go to LA and LA's decision for Kellen Moore?
Yeah. The guy was unemployed, first of all. So,
I guess that's
Have you got a job?
I mean, like, he got a job. Also, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think in 12 months we're going to be talking about Kellen Moore being the head coach in LA anyways. I think that
Brandon Staley's
I think that what's going to end up happening is that Staley's going to five-head his play calling again. He's going to get himself canned when they inevitably get knocked out in the wild card round again next year, because they're not going to win the division. They're going to have to go and play the 4 seed or the 3 seed.
Probably Jacksonville again.
Probably Jacksonville again.
Yeah, probably. And so then they'll lose. They'll be calling for his head again. They'll fire him. And then they'll be like, well, that Kellen Moore guy looked pretty good. And it's like, well, he looked pretty good because he's got Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Austin Eckler and Gerald Everett and all these other guys. So, yeah, let's just make him our head coach. So I think it's a great move for Kellen Moore, because you just went to a situation where it's like, well, the head coach is on the hot seat.
All pressure's on Staley.
and all the pressure's on him. For me, I got like a top 5 QB. I got weapons. Like,
I got the number 1 RB in the league last year.
This was his way of getting a head coaching job. I'll just go coach behind someone who really stinks at his job, and then I'll take it in a year.
I do like that approach. Okay, so the futuristic approach. Andrew, do you like the fit for Kellen Moore?
Conservative Kellen pisses me off. Like, he's the most conservative play caller in the history of existence. You don't believe me? Watch Dak against San Francisco. I know we want to blame Dak for his, calling and some of the throws that he had, but that comes down to play calling. It's literally his calls. When he was killing, the most effective is when Dak is literally going kill in the pocket because he sees something. Well, in that game against San Francisco, he wasn't able to do that. He literally didn't have an opportunity to do so because Kellen played conservative. You can't be conservative with Justin Herbert. You can't be conservative with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. There's no conservative, my friend. You need to be balls to the wall with this offense. Is it better than the Cowboys offense? Yes. Yes, it is. And they have pieces to make it better. But I agree with Kenny. I think for him, he looked around. He apparently, from what I understand, he bombed his Carolina interview. Like, it was not good. And so not a good situation.
I'd bomb it too if I had to go and coach Sam Darnold.
Yeah, fact, I get it.
I'd act really stupid.
Yeah. Do you want to play? Where are we again? But no, nonetheless, I agree with Kenny fully. When he got hired, I'm like, okay, the news broke that he got fired by, Dallas. And I'm like, thank God we're moving on. And then all of a sudden he went to there and I'm like, wait, he's going to be under Brandon Staley? That's worse than being under Mike McCarthy. And I was like, no, wait a minute. It's way better for him because he'll be a head coach in 12 months. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it was the most silent breaking news I ever thought I would hear. So congratulations to Kellen Moore. I'm not a fan. We'll have to see what happens. Hopefully he doesn't go down with the ship. Hopefully they don't crash and burn. We shall see.
I hope not with that offense.
Frank Reich staying with the Panthers. Okay, the Pro Bowl lineup has been released.
Ernest really wants to get out of here. Hey,
you ain't kidding.
Show already.
The Pro Bowl lineups are out. And that's right. We have a flag football game this week.
Tyler is a Pro Bowler, folks.
The guy had 3 touchdowns.
Keep that in mind. He played like 4 games, but he's in the Pro Bowl. But he'll be great at dodgeball. Actually, you know what? He probably isn't good at dodgeball. He's not very good at hitting the target. So
true.
So the Pro Bowl skills challenge.
True.
Just shredding his Pro Bowl segment. I just want to nominate this already as the worst segment in ITL history, talking about the Pro Bowl skills challenge.
We kind of have to, right? I mean, it's happening.
No,
it's the
you
NFL.
can watch literally anything else.
I'll tell you that Dak Prescott isn't in the accuracy challenge. That's for damn sure.
The Last of Us is a really great show that you can go.
That is a really good show.
Like, there's a lot of good things to watch that isn't the Pro Bowl skills challenge.
Did you guys know that the teams with the most players this weekend?
Probably
Cowboys
Dallas,
now?
because
Are
they've had
the
a couple
Eagles,
weeks
Cowboys,
off.
and Chiefs? That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
'cause-
none of those guys are playing, so it's going to
None
be
of those guys
littered
are
with
playing
Micah
anymore.
Parsons and not Tony Pollard. That guy can't walk.
Yeah,
Dak
shitty.
Prescott and
Oof. That's my
Leighton
boy.
Vander Esch is probably there. Not even a Pro Bowler,
Probably.
just going to hang out. Like,
He'll be on the field
can't
somehow,
believe I
though.
got that guy's
It's basically going to be the Dallas Cowboys flag football show, which is what we get to watch every week anyways leading up to this weekend.
So why would I
Okay.
want to put myself through the pain of watching more Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
football?
This leads me to my last question for you guys. Pro Bowl
What is
flag
paid for
football,
500,
are you
Alex?
watching?
What do you think? I think I might go for a walk outside, and it's minus
What are you kidding? It's
35.
minus
Like,
40.
I might go for a brisk
Yikes.
walk around Regina before I watch the Pro Bowl flag football game.
I will tell you this, though. Brett Maher's on the Pro Bowl roster. All right. that's
Oh
the
my
end of our
God.
Pro Bowl
Question: what are
segment.
we doing?
A fraud. A big fraud.
Wow. Yikes.
I just can't.
Brett
I know we
Maher
talked-
deserved that.
He did have 48 straight field goals, not extra points, field goals. I do want
What?
to say this.
What? What?
We
I had
before
to
we
up
got
the
on.
video quota because I forgot a couple videos. So keep going.
It's only when I'm talking. Fitting. But what I really wanted to say. You can play the video. I'm waiting for it.
No,
Silent pause. Wait.
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, now I'm just waiting for it. Realistically, I agree with Kenny, and we talked about this before we went on the podcast. We said, what does the NFL do about the Pro Bowl? Because it's a joke. It's so bad. At least in baseball, you know that the NL and the AL are playing for home playoff advantage. Like, you're playing for something that makes sense. I mean, the NHL has kind of strayed away from it. I still enjoy the All-Star game. It's a relatively fun weekend. But this is just, we're playing flag football. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I
Not a
mean,
lot.
for the MLB,
No,
it's
yeah.
like,
I'm going for a
are we
walk
gonna-
in minus 40 with Kenny. Like,
are we going to play in Houston or are we going to play in the NL, right? That's usually what we're doing for the MLB. So let's just... Wow.
That's us if we're watching the Pro Bowl. We are a bunch
yeah, we're walking.
if we are watching the Pro Bowl, and you cut off my video despite the fact that it really fit what I was trying to drive home. I'm pissed.
I'm sorry. Let's no, I'm not even going to play it again.
Let's talk
All
about
right,
the
guys.
Rising Stars Challenge.
If you guys didn't know it, we have a stream team at BCMG. Stream team led by
I had
Coach
no idea.
Peanut and the Holy Man, two captains that are absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't checked out their stuff, let's look at what those stream team members do with this commercial break. And we're going to jump right into hoops, guys. We're talking NBA action right after this commercial.
Yo, Jill going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh, yo, clip that. Clip that headshot. No.
A pistol. What the Okay, that didn't count.
Woo, let's go, baby. Clutch it up. Yeah, I like it.
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go! Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
BCMG stream team mostly on twitch.tv. We still have some stragglers out on Facebook Gaming, but the switch to purple has been happening. Check them out, twitch.tv. Any one of those. The Holy Man, Coach
Did I
Peanut.
tell you I'm going to start streaming?
Are you really?
No, I really suck at video games. If I wanted to do that, then I would just tune into your stream.
Wow, that's pretty mean. Is that what you were teeing up?
Yeah.
It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay?
Thank you, Beto.
Ouch.
Early.
We are going to round number 3. Round number 3, we're finally actually it's round 2. We're finally talking hoops. We're going hoops. We do have a late arrival. Here we go.
Do we have to?
Dre Rogers. What's going on, Dre?
Do you come to mourn the death of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay?
I've been calling it since last season, so it don't matter to me. I'm trying to fix the camera.
You've been
it's
calling
not
his
working.
inevitable leaving?
His demise since he was like 37?
Yes, of course. I'm trying to find a hat like Kenny so I can copy him on the show when my camera works.
Keep looking.
I would too. It's a dope hat.
He said it's one of a kind. So if you find one anything
it
like
is.
it, please wear it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Style. He lives in Bali.
Wow.
Have you seen Dre's Instagram? It's
Another
maybe the
arrival
greatest
of another
Instagram
sports
of all
scientist.
time.
Luke Hardo. Sorry, guys. Finally leaving Pittsburgh. I'll see y'all Super Bowl week. One love. All right, Luke. All right. Did you see, Luke? Did you see it's hoops? And you were just like, forget it. I'm not.
Yeah, he was getting off it, and he's like,
He was driving. He's like, next week.
Nope, not tonight, I guess. All right, back by popular demand, we're going to talk some hoops action. Let's run right into it. The NBA All-Star Game is right around the corner, and if you know it, it's actually quite entertaining. So let's run down who the voters and media thought were going to be worthy of this year for the East, the Eastern Conference. Giannis obviously getting the top vote in the East. Kyrie Irving getting a spot. Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell in his first year in the Eastern Conference, and Jason Tatum are the East All-Stars. Guys, do we love this lineup, and did anybody get spurned in your opinion?
Love it.
Wow, I was expecting someone to go down the East road. I mean, no. Here's the thing. The entire idea now that we have to have the 2 guards and 3 forwards doesn't make sense for one reason. Because now it's no longer East versus West. Now it is a schoolyard pick'em game where it doesn't really matter anymore. So we know that the 4 best players in the East this year are Durant, Tatum, Giannis, and Embiid. But one of them was going to miss out because of this idiotic rule that you have to have 3 front court guys. So now Kyrie gets in because of it, because Mitchell should have been an automatic. At the end of the day, they're all going to be all-stars. And when we go to debate it at the end of the day, we're not like, yeah, he was a 9-time All-Star, but he only started 7 of them. So, he's not really like, nobody cares who started and who didn't. The important thing is that they're going to be All-Stars. But I just wish that now that they have this schoolyard pick'em style, that we would just get rid of the positions. Like, you still have to have 5 West, 5 East, but who really cares what position they play anymore?
Right.
So I want to challenge you, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge your mind, Kenny and Andrew and Dre. All right. The media got to rank this. They are 25% of the vote. Kyrie Irving was not the number 1 ranked person from the media, obviously. Do you guys know who got number 1?
Oh God.
Jason Tatum?
In guards.
Oh.
Probably Jaylen Brown, I would guess.
Jaylen Brown, yeah.
That's a good guess. He's number 2. So one was Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, okay. Well, he's already on there.
Yeah, he's already
I
on
thought
there.
that you were saying that it was someone that
wasn't on there. That's what I was thinking too.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Who was number 3? Because that's not Kyrie Irving either.
If we're talking Eastern Conference, I bet you Drew Holiday.
And this is exactly what I thought about Luke. Sorry, Luke. So that's a good guess. Number 3 was Tyrese Halliburton from Indiana.
No, I don't blame that, because up until he got hurt, for me, he was
playing ball.
Because I actually had him ahead of Kyrie the way that he was playing that at that point. Now that he's hurt, like, he may not get in at all, which I think would be wrong, because if other guys are getting in, missing 10, 15 games, then he deserves to be there. But, I mean, the media fell in love with Halliburton. even though
Yeah.
some of us have loved Halliburton since day one.
For a while.
Absolutely. Kyrie came in at 4 with the media, but got number
Are we
1.
not surprised that the media doesn't like Kyrie Irving?
No, that's why I didn't even
say, like,
test that.
No one's
Man,
ever
well-
questioned Kyrie's talent. Nobody.
It's
They
just
have
his mental
always
well-being.
questioned, how many games of Kyrie am I going to get? Is he just going to decide that? And look, I don't fault the guy for going down that road of like fighting for what they believe in, but at the end of the day, sometimes he's like, you know what, I'm not going. Like I got on my mind. Then he misses 5 games. Like, so you're always
But
worried.
isn't this supposed to be like schoolyard and one type basketball pickup game or whatever? So Kyrie is perfect for this.
Oh
He
no,
is.
like
Right?
we agree that he's perfect for
Yeah.
starting. We're just
I
saying
agree with
that if you were basing it off of the best 5 players in the East this year, Kyrie's probably 6. Because Embiid should be in there over Kyrie. And
Embiid's up there. True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Embiid, I think, as of a couple days ago, was like second in the MVP ladder. But
Right.
how do you put him over Tatum, who's probably the favorite, Giannis, who's right there, and Kevin Durant potentially having the best shooting year that a forward's ever had? Because he's shooting like 55%, 93% at the line, and like 40% from 3. Like, it's,
I mean,
Grim Reaper's gross, dude.
I even weighed Jimmy Butler versus Donovan Mitchell.
But is
I
Butler a
even weigh that.
forward?
That's what I'm saying. I think the best 5 are 5 forwards.
But Jimmy missed time. That would be the only thing.
Yeah.
Too much, I should say. All of them miss time nowadays.
Let's-
If you play 65 games, you're like a warrior.
Yeah. Let's talk. Well, I mean, because
well, not a Golden State Warrior because they play like 55.
They play
But
40.
anyways, go ahead.
Western Conference starters: Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Jokic, and Zion. Guys, any shockers with the West?
Where's Jalen Green?
I know that was a huge shocker for me.
He's playing in the other game.
He came in 11th on the guards. Came in 11th on the guards. Jalen Green did.
20 spots too high. Okay.
Wow.
This is where, on the flip side of what I said earlier, would make sense because Zion
Absolutely.
shouldn't be there. Zion shouldn't, and Ja Morant should. So then you would have 3 guards, 2 forwards, and then in the East you would have 4 forwards and a guard. They would match up anyways, and then we would actually get the 10 guys that we want to see start this game because we all love Zion when he's playing. I mean, he just hasn't played enough. And if you were actually going to go down the road of who should have got in but wouldn't because of the name, Domantas Sabonis should be starting.
That was gonna be my
Sabonis
my
should start.
trivia for you.
What are they, like a top 3 West team right now? Top 4?
They're done dirty every year though.
But they should get 2. They should get 2 players this year because him and De'Aaron Fox should both get in. Denver's only going to get 1 as the 1 seed.
The player ranking had Markkanen over Sabonis.
But I get that too because he's been really, like, to me, Zion's like 5 or 6. He's not even 4.
I agree with that. No, I injuries too. I mean, he's missed 20 games, 22 games. Like, you can't.
Don't get me wrong. He was going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't be starting. And
I
the only
agree.
reason why he is because, as Dre pointed out earlier, it's a glorified pickup game, like schoolyard pick'em. So I get it. But if that's the case, Ja Morant should be in. Who's more exciting to watch than Ja Morant right now?
I agree.
No.
And you know who he should have got in over? Steph Curry, who also missed time. But are they ever going to not have Steph start? Nope.
I mean, honestly,
No,
Shai
he's
Shai
gonna
deserved
have-
it too. Shai's been playing unbelievable this season for OKC.
And he'd be 4.
I
He'd be
agree.
4, literally.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, he could be 3 if you hold the game
The injury rule.
enough against Steph.
Yep.
On the roster that guy's played with this year. So
At the end of the day, it's going to be a good game because there's still so many good reserves. And this is going to be kind of one of those transition years of because you have some of these older guys that have faded over the last couple of years. I know like LeBron's still playing in it and stuff, but guys that are going to take over the All-Star game are going to be the Ja Morants. Jaylen Brown's going to be a ton of fun. Tyrese Halliburton, Julius Randle's been great in the East. Like, I hope that Milwaukee gets Drew Holiday, but I feel like I'm the only one that fights for Drew Holiday, so I'll be here on my lonely island for Drew Holiday to be an All-Star this year.
Kenny, the captains are Curry and Giannis, or is it LeBron and Giannis again?
LeBron and Giannis.
Okay.
Which I think that if they want to improve the All-Star format, they should have to change who the captain is each year.
That would be kind of cool.
because that's what I said.
How
too.
many
I said,
LeBron drafts do we have to watch?
We're
Where
gonna
they
have
just
at least 2 more.
where they
what's
buddy up to LeBron and be like, LeBron, who you picking? Like, well, he's probably picking Anthony Davis first. Like, oh, you can't
And then
do that. He's not a
Westbrook.
starter. Oh, I guess I'll just
Westbrook.
pick one of my other players
And
that I
Westbrook.
played with.
Where's Rui?
Where's Austin Reeves? Oh wait, he's hurt. Damn it, he was my first pick. Like,
What were you saying, Dre?
Where's Westbrook?
Oh, that man's real deal. I had to make sure we talk about the real headline, which is that 3 Houston Rockets are on the Rising Stars roster this year. That's going to be fun to watch. Congratulations to Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jalen Green. All deserving, so we get to see the future of NBA basketball get to
they
play.
are all deserving, Ernest.
Thank you. That's all I needed Kenny to say so I can move on with my segment. But we forgot to mention the 4th Houston Rockets. Scoot Anderson will also be playing for the Rising Stars roster.
Scoot Anderson or Scoot
Henderson? Scoot
He
Henderson.
said Anderson.
I did not
like,
say
you don't-
Anderson.
you
I
don't
know that
even
man.
know who he is.
I've been watching him for a while now. So Scoot Henderson is definitely going to be something to watch if you're a Houston Rockets fan, because you know what? We're the Rockets. They will not give us the 1 pick. So let's move on. I put this headline just to be cringe for you, Kenny, so I could see you smile. If the playoffs started today, what does that look like in the NBA? That headline always comes up on shows, so I thought let's just be cringe and just put it on there too.
I think it's the fact
The
that
West
we
is
are
fantastic.
end of January and people are like, and guess what? If the playoffs started
Right.
today, we get the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's like you could do that segment every day because it's going to change every day.
Yep.
Oh, now we get the Sixers play the Nets. Oh, tomorrow, well, the Sixers play the Cavs if it started. Jesus Christ. Like, who cares? Anyways, I'm off my
Canadian Laker fans are weird. Off the Ball Network. Shout out to you, partners of the show.
So true.
Gotta love it. All right, Andrew took himself off camera. He's like, fuck this, not part of this conversation now. We're gonna go into the lab. Let's dissect the Eastern Conference. Kenny, we want to run down the standings and talk about the teams to look at and where the biggest headlines are. I don't want to start outside the playoffs, but let's go down the list. The 76ers have looked fantastic as of late. They're the 3 seed currently. The Celtics have looked like the team to beat, and the Bucks are always up there. The Nets finally turned it around and went on a streak. And if you haven't been keeping up with the East, you have everybody else down there. Heat have been playing great basketball as well as of late. The Knicks have slowly started to return to Knick form. And the Raptors have just fallen from grace.
Good.
Good. We're excited about that. Let's take it from the top, though. You have the big 4 again with the Eastern Conference, right? You have Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, Nets. To you, Kenny, which ones have looked like the most solid team? I know probably obvious it's Boston, but I'll let you go ahead and talk.
I actually think it's Milwaukee, but
Okay.
I mean, I'll be deemed a Boston hater by someone who used to be on the show but never appears anymore.
Man.
Well, if he wants to come on here, he can definitely argue with me about it. But
It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay?
Sorry, I had to.
So the Bucks are the 2 seed in the East, having not had Chris Middleton for almost the entire season.
Insane.
And look, I know that Boston's dealt with injuries too. They've had Robert Williams in and out. Marcus Smart's been hurt, but they've had Brown and Tatum the whole year. And yes, they've had Giannis and Drew the whole year. But I just think for a Milwaukee team that I don't think is as deep as Boston, they do lean a little more heavily on their big 3. I just think that this is a really impressive team all around. And I think when it comes playoff time, when you have to, like Brooke Lopez being back, who's a defensive player of the year candidate, that is a lockdown defensive team come playoff time. And I know Boston, they're a lockdown defensive team too, but I think that if you need to trade bucket for bucket, Milwaukee can do it, but I think they're a little bit better defensively for me. So I think Milwaukee for me would be the team to keep an eye on.
Now, the other surprise team, and Andrew, I don't know how much you dive into the NBA, especially with the East, but
I live in it.
That's true. That's true. The Cleveland Cavaliers, right?
Yeah.
So a team that last year had flashes, but still, ruminated on the bottom of the league. Now 31-21, going toward the All-Star break, trending upward. Donovan Mitchell's been fantastic. How do you like the Cavs in what is usually a dominant 4 at the top of the East?
their consistency this year has been really, really impressive, to be honest with you. I didn't expect them to go where they are. I kind of had them, and this is a bold take, but I know I said at the start of the year the Raptors would probably be like that 25 team around this timeline. And I had the Cavaliers kind of being that 27-25 team. So the fact that they're 31-21 just tells you how big that trade for Donovan Mitchell really was. I mean, that's a huge pickup. They're playing confident ball. They've got great coaching. I personally really like the Cavaliers. I think they can make some noise in the playoffs. They're a run and gun offense, and they're fun. And that's always dangerous in the playoffs. I know Kenny alluded to Milwaukee having the best lockdown defense, and that's without a doubt the best lockdown defense in the NBA. Sorry. So if you have to end up playing them, which might happen, that's going to be a hell of a series and a lot of fun.
Yeah, in case some of y'all were wondering what happened with Indiana, injuries kind of hampered that season, and then slowly there was some turmoil with Miles Turner, but that's resolved as he signed his 2-year, $60 million deal. So that's good. I'm going to let you guys talk Raptors, right? We look towards the bottom of this. The Pistons are going to piston and the Hornets are going to horn. Let's talk about the Raptors and what's happening with Toronto. What's the game plan there? Because I have not been as intimate with that storyline as you guys seem to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, and Kenny could probably agree with this, right now it's kind of what can we get for the future? I mean, Fred VanVleet got a contract that's pretty much done. He's definitely going to get moved. I'd probably say in the next couple of weeks. You're trying to get pieces that you can build around Scotty Barnes. That's kind of what your future looks like. They're an organization that had, a ton of really good years, and now they're they lost Kawhi. Honestly, it started with the Kawhi loss. It's just been kind of a weird little downward spiral since then. So they lost Lowry. Now they're going to lose VanVleet. So again, this rebuild, I know NHL teams use the term rebuild. The Raptors are in what's called a rebuild right now. So they need to get as many picks as they possibly can, get a few good prospects if they can, and start building for the future, because that's what this team is destined for right now. Nick Nurse is probably also on his way out, which hurts me because he's not a young guy's coach. He's a win now coach. And I know people will say, well, he developed it, in the G League and stuff like that too. So, but he's tasted success. He's won a championship. I don't know if he wants to be part of a rebuild as well. Like, I just have no idea, what they're going to do with Nurse, but I can tell you that it's a rebuild. And I'm sure Kenny would agree with that.
I mean, the thing is, like, they've just completely butchered it, because we were on this show 2 years ago when free agency was happening and Kawhi had left, talking about they should blow it up now before it gets to this point. And I said, well, you're going to re-sign Fred, be a mid-tier Eastern Conference team for a couple years, and then it really doesn't matter how well you draft because you don't have a superstar in the room. Pascal Siakam is a number 2. Raptors fans don't want to hear that he's actually the piece you should be looking to move in this entire thing, because he's owed $37 million next year. And then what? You're going to pay him after that on he'll demand 40 and probably get it from you. Right. And then you're even further sewered by Siakam. Instead, they've gone and pissed off OG Anunoby, who's on probably the most friendly contract on this team, because he's like 17 this year, 18 next year, player option for 19 the following year. But they're talking about trading him. Yeah. They should have traded Fred last year when he was having an all-star year, but the fans would have rioted because they're in the playoffs. And why would you give away Fred in the playoffs? Well, now his value is next to nothing, kind of like Kyle Lowry when he headed out the door. So basically the only piece that you're going to be able to build around is Barnes, because you pissed off OG. Siakam's going nowhere, and VanVleet looks like he's playing in quicksand right now. So Toronto's in for a long rebuild now, because they're not going to get the value back that they could have 2 years ago when they could have sold high on these guys. And instead, I mean, Masai really gets bailed out by that Kawhi championship, because otherwise his entire career in the NBA has been building mid-tier playoff teams. Got lucky with Kawhi, and then he went back to doing the exact same thing. And Raptors fans also don't want to hear that, because in Masai we trust. Every year we hear it. Guess what? You trusted him so much that now you're the 12 seed. You are behind the Wizards, Bulls, Knicks, and Pacers right now, despite having essentially the same team as last year.
But a positive point differential.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got
so
that
when
going.
they win big, but when they lose, it's a real gritty, tight matchup.
It's a close one. It's a close one. Guys, hot take: Nick Nurse coaches where next year?
Well, you got to look at who's getting canned.
If he does get canned, oh man, he'll get scooped right away, and it's going to be by a mid-cat, like a team that's literally floating at 8 or 9, whether it be the West or the East, because he's got pieces that know that he can make it to the playoffs. It's exactly what happened when he was in the Raptors. So,
I mean, why are we kidding ourselves? We know where he's going to go. He's going to go to the place where his predecessor went and is going to get fired from this year in the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
He's probably going to head to the
was my
Pistons
guess.
because he'll be deemed a player's coach along with Cade and all these young pieces that they have, because Detroit's super fun, winning 13 games. And then they'll probably win like 30 next year, and everyone will be like, man, Nick Nurse really turned around the Pistons. And then they'll win 35 the year after, and then it'll get canned. So
yep. Yeah, I like that take, actually.
They'll just repeat the cycle.
Why not?
It was
I don't know where else you go. Popovich isn't
New
going
York?
anywhere. You don't want to go to the Lakers. Yeah, what? The Knicks are going to make the playoffs again. They're going to hold on to Thibodeau because they made the playoffs again. The Rockets don't want him. OKC doesn't want him. Portland doesn't want him. They just found their coach. Go back
who knows with the Rockets, though? That's not a terrible take if they decide to move on. Charlotte could.
Probably go to Charlotte because
Charlotte will can their coach because they expected to be
over.
better than they are.
They thought playoffs.
Even though their roster is
start of the year did not help.
It doesn't help when your shooting guard goes and starts punching people, but like,
yeah.
Sorry, he plays small forward. That's on me.
Yeah,
that's the important part of that. Right?
Do you really study hoops? All right, let's go over the West.
Court proceedings with that guy. So no, I'm not a lawyer.
I remember you used to have somebody from Shooters Shoot. That guy studied hoops.
That guy knew.
I don't know Compedge. All right, Western Conference. The Nuggets live as the Kings on top. Grizzlies right behind them. Kings, Clippers, Warriors, Mavericks in that order. And then you have the Suns and Pelicans rounding out the top 8. Wolves and Jazz, interesting storylines, interesting offseason for both programs, both hovering around the 500 mark. And then the usual at the bottom of the Western Conference. I say that the Lakers are still down there. But yes, it's been a weird year. Now, the Western Conference is very interesting because if you look from the Lakers all the way up to the Warriors, it's like 3 games separating the entire Western Conference. So, guys, you look at this, right? We're going to dissect this. Big surprise for me, Sacramento Kings, right off the back, right? Kings are the 3 spot. They have 28 wins already this season. They're booming. They had a couple of potential all-stars on the team. Really turned it around there. The Clippers finally get Kawhi mixing in back into the lineup. They've looked quite well. Warriors still hampering from a couple of things off the rotation, but you have the big 4 there for the Warriors, not a surprise. The Suns, a negative surprise for me, watching them kind of deteriorate, go through the season. And, I was not surprised that the Rockets are last or trying to go after Wemby and Scoot, but I thought maybe they'd have a few more wins than 12. I thought, but...
You thought.
Why do you want to win games?
I don't, but I just thought there's enough cushion there. That
the Spurs got to be pissed that you're out tanking them.
That's true.
They got to be rattled. They're like, what more can we do?
I mean,
we win 1 in every 4 games right now. What more can we possibly do? I will say, okay, I'm curious your thoughts. You said from Golden State down to the Lakers. Who out of those teams, do you think should be a seller at the deadline? Because I have one in my mind, and it's completely based off of. I'll say it in a second.
There's 2 for me that are obvious sellers, and that's Oklahoma City and Portland. They both should be sellers at the deadline.
I think Utah should sell.
But sell what?
Well, you can ditch Mike Conley.
What?
There is. I don't care what it's for, because at the end of the day, how many players on that roster do you actually plan on keeping long term? Outside of Markkanen and Walker Kessler, who else do you want to keep?
Nobody. But that's my point is I don't know if you're getting anybody. I don't know.
Okay, but this is where I look at a team like Utah, and there's a lot of teams right now, especially in this Western Conference, where they're fringe. So they're looking to go and make a move. Jordan Clarkson has value as a 6-man on a team. There is one team, there is plenty of teams that don't have bench scoring that would love to have Jordan Clarkson. And right now, let's face it, Clarkson's starting every game. You don't want that. You would rather ditch that. You can probably go and get a first. You could get a first for Malik Beasley on this team. A team wants Kelly Olynyk. There is a team out there that wants Kelly Olynyk for a playoff push. Look, I'm not saying that they're getting a load of first-round picks back. It might only be 1 or 2. But if you're Danny Ainge and you cleared out all this room with Gobert and you cleared out all this room with Donovan Mitchell for these first-round picks, you want to be able to start to cash in on these. And if you go and you're like the 8th seed and you somehow make the playoffs, Danny Ainge is going to be pissed. Because that's not what Danny Ainge does. Danny Ainge comes in to gut the thing and start fresh. And he's got to be rattled right now that Lauri Markkanen looks like the second coming of Dirk Nowitzki on this team. He's got to be pissed because when he made that trade, he's like, well, Lauri's like, he's a good pro. He hasn't been healthy. Well, then he got healthy and then he got really good. So
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
I just think when you look at all those, like OKC already has a ton of picks. Portland, they still don't know what they want to do because Damian Lillard's, these hoes ain't loyal. Like, congrats. Like, you're the most loyal guy in the league. Loyal. You're also the 12 seed. So
still think Portland should sell.
And he's still loyal. Don't forget that. He loves to point out how loyal he is in every interview.
So Kenny, logically, I'm gonna go logical, not emotionally. The Los Angeles Lakers are the 13th seed in the West, right? And again, like I said, 3 games out from, or like a 3-game differential from 5. Do you still have the confidence after the Rui trade that you are going to make this run, trust in LeBron as a Lakers, logically, as a Lakers fan?
I mean, I think the ceiling's the 9. Like, I'm not going to say that they're going to hop up into the top 6. Now, once you get into a play-in game with LeBron, Anthony Davis, like this is all hinging on Davis now being back and not going to get hurt again, which is a massive red flag. Because we keep saying that every single year. Well, when Anthony Davis is healthy, he's a top 10 player. Well, he's never healthy, so how can you be a top 10 player when you're never healthy? I think the Rui trade's nice. I was a big fan of his when he was coming out of Gonzaga. That being said, like, it's not a deep roster, so you have to be very healthy. That's why I think the ceiling is 9th. Because what are they right now? 2.5 games back of that?
Yep.
Minnesota's been playing without Cat. You're hoping that Utah sells. You're hoping that Portland and OKC sell. And then it really, like, they should be able to get up to 10. Looking at the teams in front of them, there's no reason that they shouldn't. Now, will they actually do it? How much more can LeBron do? The guy's scoring like 28, 7, and 7 at like 40 years old. So you're asking a lot out of him. Russ getting moved to the bench has been good for them. I think he runs the second unit well, but yeah, there is a lot that needs to go right. That's why I think the ceiling's 9th. I think we're going to be back here in 2 months talking about them being the 11 seed, but I'm not going to rule it out. When Anthony Davis and LeBron have been playing together, they have been winning games. They just don't play together enough.
Now, if I'm looking at this, and I'm going to say my cringe headline, right? If you look at the playoffs starting now, right?
And shaping up for.
Do you see that? Like, I'd rather be 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, 6, 7, 8 in this than 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Like if I'm the Mavericks, I'm like, hell yeah, give me the Kings first round. Like, isn't that like a barbecue chicken for Luka, right? Like, isn't that like a all day thing? And then if you're the Pelicans, you've been playing such great basketball since Zion is back. Like,
I'm all in on the Pelicans winning the West. I got 20-1 at the start of the year on the Pelicans winning the West.
I was about to say, is it a hot take that they've looked like the best team in the West?
I mean, people obviously argue Denver because of record, but when they play, because it's only been not even a dozen games, I think, where CJ, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Valanciunas have all played together. If you put all of them together, this is a team that without Zion pushed the Suns to 7 games last year in the playoffs. Then you add in Zion. That's a very good team. So I'm all in on them. there's not enough discussion about the fact that if Jokic doesn't win the West this year, he should get absolutely crucified for the fact that he can't win the Western Conference in the state that it's in right now. But that's maybe another show topic.
Yeah, it's probably for another show.
But he deserves to get shredded because he's potentially going to win 3 straight MVPs, having been to 1 conference finals.
It's crazy.
And if every other player gets it, why does he get the pass? Because he's in Denver? Is that why? Because he's European? Because people don't take him seriously as the best player in basketball when we really should. If he's won 3 straight MVPs, how's he not?
Right. Well, and to piggyback on that, I think Jokic does a lot with a lot of injuries around him, and he does things that we don't necessarily see all the time from a big man. Like, he's doing things Dirk was not doing.
He's like
with the
26, 10, and 10 right now.
Yeah, it's nuts.
As a center.
It's like Alperen Sengun numbers, just nuts. And
Alperen Sengun when in like 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Because you have the second coming of Jokic. Yeah,
I do.
We're
He absolutely
on that
is.
train, right? Yeah, I've been a Rockets.
Are we all there?
Remember?
Are we all there?
I haven't watched many games because there haven't been many wins, but
I'm glad you're there with me, Kenny. I know we'll get Andrew and Dre there eventually. Their runs will end, and they'll be.
Well, Andrew's going to sell high when the team mutinies their way out of Toronto, so he's going to be needing a
selling serious stock, boys.
let's end our Western Conference take on a solemn note. Is the sun set on the Suns?
No.
All right, still.
But I think that they make a deadline move.
Okay, Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon? You've been wanting to sell Eric Gordon for a decade. Since James Harden decided he loves strip clubs, you are all out on Eric Gordon.
I've been trying to dangle Eric Gordon to a lot of teams. Nobody seems to want him. So
I don't know. I think that all these West teams should throw whatever they can at OG if they're willing to sell him and really enjoy one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league and really make a run at it in the West.
Mike Conley back to Memphis. Huh?
I would love him in Dallas so Luka can just score 50, and then on the other end, you then have to go down and have OG Anunoby guard you.
Good luck.
That'd be fun.
Good luck.
But I've already said that OG is going to like 18 different teams on various shows. So like at some point, I'm going to clip it and I'm going to say that I was right. I just got to figure out which show it was on.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys, that's our show. We kept you guys over the hour mark. We apologize, but all good fun. Our introduction.
Apologizing. It's a podcast.
That's true. You're a sucker for even listening. We are now going to do our sign-offs. Dre Rogers, you're here for a little bit. You got to talk some hoops. Dre, tell the people where they can find you.
Having a nap. That's where you can find them.
Oh.
Nope, he's trying. We'll come back to you, Dre. Andrew, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, thanks again, Ernest, for having me on. You guys can find me at the Boomtown Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you guys want. We will be back, I think in 2 weeks' time. Now, I know we had a special guest, and we actually had one planned, but we had a big announcement through our actual podcast, so I held off on having a guest. But I just want to say a quick congratulations to my co-host, Cole Smith, and his wife, Demi. They made the announcement on the podcast. They're expecting a baby in July, so that was really, really cool. And I was, we'll save a special guest for the next time around.
Very nice. Congratulations to them for sure. That's really exciting times for you guys. Really exciting times. My co-host, Kenny Cotterill, tell the people where they can find you.
It's really exciting times in the Cotterill household because we're not pregnant, and I'm a big fan of that. But shout out to him having kids. That's really great for Cole, not great for me. Bless. You can follow me at HedgePod on all social platforms. Hope my wife didn't see me say that. And I'll be live tomorrow morning at 6:25 Saskatchewan time.
Not if you heard that comment.
That's exciting. Hey, Kenny, happy belated birthday to your dad. I know you had a birthday. We missed it from last week. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. Rough day for Pops. Watch Man U lose, watch the Leafs lose the night before, and then he's like, do you really want to come over and watch the Cowboys game? And I'm like, they're going to lose. And he's like, I know. And they did.
Yeah, they did. That was
great birthday.
Trifecta. Should have just made a parlay on all the teams he was rooting for the weekend.
I cheered for 2 of those, so I wasn't doing that.
Shit. Dre Rogers, do we have you?
Attention, please. Dre Rogers, please.
I'm here. I don't know what's happening with the internet. You can easily tell that I'm back in Bali because it sucks.
No problem, my man. No problem. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Dre2125, or Twitter, Dre2124. I just got back from surviving Everest, so if you follow me, you'll get to see some of that footing. But yeah, follow all of these guys, and you'll have a great time. Yep.
Man,
Absolutely,
honestly,
brother.
you're the most interesting man in the world.
Especially Kenny. He's been throwing some great bets as of late.
Hey, look, Dre's
I
right
did
in
have
your
a good
coattails
month.
there. Oh,
I
look
think
at
I'm
that.
up. If you bet $10 each bet this month, I think I'm up $200.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. Well, I am your host, Ernest Docky Silva. Excited to be sharing the night with y'all. Excited to be having this weekly podcast with y'all. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. You follow everything on @IntoLab Pod. Share with your friends. And thank you for your support. Have fun this weekend. No bets. Don't bet on the Pro Bowl. Please. Don't bet on flag football, or you have some problems. We'll share a number with our podcast if you're betting this weekend. Have a great one, guys.